everyone. Welcome to another episode of Calculated Nonsense. I'm Kyle.
And I'm Paul.
And thanks for joining us. Last week we had a 2-episode week, mainly because I lost track of time and
totally fine.
had to pump out 2 episodes real quick. So that's why we had 2 episodes last week. But this week's episode and next week's episode, it's a 2-part episode. So be sure to tune in for both parts. Really cool show that I thought was going to be super weird, and that I never had any interest in watching because I thought from the commercials, what a stupid looking show. Looks dumb. All this gold crap in the background.
Yeah, it does look a little bit weird.
Yeah. So it looked
weird.
It's
got Nick Offerman.
Nick Offerman, who I like Offerman, but I thought, it's just going to be a comedy, like his last show, Parks and Recs, and I didn't know if I was going to dig it, so I didn't watch it. And then we looked it up and saw it had good reviews, saw what it was about, and thought, it's perfect.
That would be perfect.
And, another show that discusses the time travel type stuff.
Yeah, it does.
So we got a common theme, a lot of time travel. But is there any time travel? Maybe not. Probably not. But
time travel to the past is impossible. Mathematically.
Or is it?
Mathematically, it's impossible right now. To the future.
No, mathematically it's not. Physically it is.
Okay. No.
Because they proved that, Einstein's theory of relativity proves that mathematically it's correct, but physically
impossible.
Physically
to go
impossible.
backwards in time.
Yeah.
I'm okay with that.
In a simulation, it's not.
Physically, we have time travelers walking among us right now.
Sure.
Did you know that? No, I'm being 100% real.
Yeah.
Any astronaut is a time traveler.
Yeah.
Because time is relative to the mass of the object you're next to.
Right.
So the further you are away from the planet, time
Right.
passes differently than it is.
It's just like in Interstellar when he ends up on that planet and there's a little ticking noise in the background.
Yeah.
And each time you hear the tick, it's another year. And so they're only on the planet for 30 seconds, and they get back up there, and that dude's 30 years older.
Yeah.
And
That's a good one.
A little bit crazy because he's been up there for 30 years by himself.
I thought he would run out of food by that time too.
You would think so. Yeah. But we digress a little bit.
Yeah.
All right. So the show that we're doing today is Devs. It was an FX show. It's now on Hulu. Excited to talk about it. Excited. I mean, it has some incredibly high-level philosophical concepts. We got this little pesky fly.
I know. He is.
It's very annoying.
Yes.
So, like I said, very high-level philosophical concepts, real concepts that are discussed in the tech world.
Yeah.
People are trying to solve these problems, or these topics. So really cool. And of course, Alex Garland is the one who wrote the book.
He wrote the book for it, and now he's he's the director of it.
Yeah,
right?
And hopefully he is finishing Devs 2, because I would really love for a Devs 2, because I think there's 2 different ways it could go, but maybe not, probably not, but we can all hope.
Yeah, but he's also known for Ex Machina and Annihilation, Natalie Portman, and 28 Days Later.
28 Days Later, yeah.
Big ones there.
Yeah, so, but before we get into all that, let's go ahead and jump into what's happened to us since last week.
That's right.
All right, Paul, what's happened to you since last week? Anything fun? Anything cool?
Me and my wife and my sister and her boyfriend went to Buffalo Trace Distillery.
Yeah, nice.
And did a little tasting and stuff there, and we didn't get the tour because they booked tours and you're allowed to have so many people, and the tours were all full, so we just thought we'd walk around a little bit, and ended up we got asked to leave because they're like, you can't be unsupervised and walking around the distillery. And I was like, okay, that's fair. But it's not a trip until you've been asked to leave by management.
Oh, for sure. Buffalo Trace, that's Louisville?
No, it's in Frankfurt, I think.
Frankfurt. Okay, so
Yeah.
so a little further. Yeah.
Like close to Frankfurt, because they're the ones that are known for Blanton's
Mm-hmm.
and E.H. Taylor, Eagle
Yeah,
Rare,
H. Taylor's good, man.
Buffalo.
Oh, that's right.
Buffalo
Eagle Rare.
Trace.
Yeah. Eagle Rare. For the price?
It's
It's good
fantastic.
stuff. It's good stuff. Yeah. Well, that's cool.
Oh yeah, it was really good. We got they sell bottles of Blanton's there. Have you seen people trying to collect the little toppers?
Huh.
Each topper has a different letter on it, and you collect them. And once you collect all of them, you send them into them, and they will send you back all of them mounted on a end of a wood barrel, of a charred oak barrel, and they'll mail it back to you with it all completed.
That's cool.
Yeah, it's a lot of collectors thing. So they also give you we also bought a little baby Blanton's as well. It's like this big. It's like a little shot glass. Oh my gosh, it was adorable. But one of our friends collects them, and we're gonna give that to them. I hope they're not watching, but we're gonna. That's like gonna be one of their presents. Is that they want to give a little baby Blanton's.
Nice.
It's like, oh, I heard you were collecting these. And they're like, yeah, but the big ones, not the small ones. Like, oh, you should have told us.
Nice.
Yeah. What about you, Con? What have you been up to last week? Too?
Last week, not a whole lot, but last weekend.
Oh yeah.
Last weekend, so I own Plaid Timber Axe Throwing Company, and I throw axes, and I'm halfway decent at throwing axes.
I'd say you're halfway decent.
So I put my name in the lottery for a tournament called Throwdown, which would have been in Syracuse, New York, and I got into that tournament, and which was cool. So I was excited. It was going to be my first tournament, and then went to pay the invoice and got sidetracked, and then like 10 minutes afterwards, it was like they canceled it, and so it was like, oh, dang. And so another tournament in Iowa, which I was really, really excited that I got to go to this one, because everyone talks about this venue as like being the best venue in the country to go to. They put on a great tournament. So I got into Ironside tournament, the Ironside Open, Ironside Axe Club in Des Moines, Iowa, put this on. They put on the U.S. Open last year, which was an ESPN televised event. I think they were trying to get this one televised because of all the, U.S. Open got canceled, the Throwdown got canceled.
Also, sports in general right now are
Most
canceled.
sports in general, they're canceled, yeah. So they were trying, I think they were, the owner or the commissioner of the World Axe Throwing League, who's also the owner, I think was trying to get ESPN to maybe come out and set up and televise it, but they didn't, which is okay. Would have been really cool, though. But anyways, Ironside Open, that was my first tournament. A lot of the best throwers in the world were there. There were still a lot of throwers, though, that couldn't make the trip or chose not to make the trip because of COVID. And then, of course, any of the Canadian throwers, they couldn't make the trip because they're not allowed to come into the U.S.
Yeah, coming to the
or
U.S.
U.S. isn't allowed to go there, so vice versa. But there were still a handful of the best throwers in the world there.
Did you get autographs and stuff?
No,
Did you get asked to get your
there's
autograph?
I was really hoping so. So there's this little girl who throws. Her name's Ella, and she's throwing in the quarantine league that I'm throwing in, and she was at the U.S. Open last year,
Okay.
where she had a match with the guy who won the U.S. Open. His name's Mike Kump. He's from Philly. Awesome thrower. Great character. He does. He's super cool, super fun. He threw against Ella, I believe, at the U.S. Open last year. Of course, he ended up winning. I believe he threw against her in the QATL, our quarantine league, a couple of months ago, and I think he played her on his knees left-handed. And she might have. I think she beat him, but she's like 8 years old, and from all I can see, she loves axe throwing, and she's really good. She's really good at axe throwing. She's 8, and she does awesome. I think
she
she
have
got
smaller axes or anything like that, or is
No.
it just?
No, she throws two-handed over the top, and she's pretty darn good. And she's
awesome.
It was super cool.
Does she have videos that we can send our viewers to?
Possibly. Possibly. I know her. She doesn't have Facebook. She uses her mom's Facebook when she
Yeah.
does this stuff. So I think her mom posts a lot of videos out there. But she was taking an axe that she had made. I think it was done by Shane Shep. He's a guy out of Massachusetts who did really well. I think he ended up third place. Through awesome. I think a lot of us may have had our money on him to win Ironside because he was just throwing lights out. It was cool. But she had this. He does like etching.
Okay.
Shep's accents is what his.
Oh my god.
Don't look like that.
That's-
always using the puns, man.
Yeah, that's true.
But he did this real cool design on this axe, and she was carrying it around, having people sign it. And she came over at one point, and I was standing there with a couple people, and she had Mike Kump sign it, who was the guy that was won the U.S. Open this later. He should have probably won too, but he could have won easily as well. But yeah, she was having people sign it, and she had another guy sign it who eventually I ended up beating, and knocking him out of the A bracket into the B bracket, who's the most televised axe thrower. He's made it to the finals of every televised event that's been on ESPN. So it was really cool. It was really awesome to beat him. Eventually, because of how the World Axe Throwing League does their brackets, we ended up facing each other again in the finals in day 2, which was really cool that I got there.
Yeah.
First tournament to get there. So eventually, I did lose to that guy again in our rematch, just barely.
Just
If I hadn't have, I screwed up 2 throws, one in one match and one in the other, and I duffed him. And I think it was nerves. Yeah, nerves are like.
the old
This is
jittery.
the first tournament, and I made day 2. Maybe made day 2 by technicality. I would have much rather played the day before when I was I was grooving. But due to time, they had to move it, so got into the finals that way, I guess. But ended up tied for 9th. I think
That's not
ultimately,
bad.
if you go by like games and how they were lined up, it would have been like 10th. But tied for 9th out of 100 throwers. So.
That's not bad.
Not bad at all. I was pretty happy. And then we did the Big Axe tournament as well, which is using a much larger axe.
Oh, yeah.
And then duels, where I'm on a team of 2, and we're both throwing at the same target, which is really fun. Yeah, and
That
so
sounds cool.
I think we finished somewhere in the realm of 8th to 12th in duels.
That's not bad at all.
Yeah, Big Axe. I won my first match, lost my next 2, but they were to great throwers, and I really just started throwing Big Axe not very long ago. Like maybe 2-3 months ago, tops. So, but that's super fun. The tournament was great. The venue was really cool. The staff at Ironside did a great job. I mean, they worked their butts off to make
Is it
sure.
bigger than here? Bigger than here, I'm guessing.
I mean, venue floor size. Like, I mean, our venue floor is probably similar in terms of floor size. But where ours is like a post frame building, theirs is in like an old movie theater. So like where we have this like upstairs mezzanine area that we can't put people on, they have an upstairs mezzanine where people can look down on the whole tournament. And it was really neat. And they had
Okay.
a lot of space, old movie theater, big bathroom, stuff like that, where we just
yeah.
have one
Tiny,
restroom.
yeah.
And but yeah, super cool, super fun atmosphere. We did have to wear masks the whole time, which was kind of rough.
Even while throwing.
Now, while throwing, a lot of people would pull them down so they could breathe because it does get rough. But yeah, they asked us to wear them just because we were all. I mean, there was under 100 or so people in this room, kind of fairly tightly packed. But
Yeah. Buffalo
Yeah.
Trace made us wear masks the whole time except when we were tasting.
yeah, so like if you were eating or drinking, you could pull your mask down. So there was
Yeah.
plenty of that. There was
And after that, they're like, "Can you please put your mask back
I
on?"
tell you what, if they sold beer or White Claws seems to be like the drink of axe throwers. I don't think I've ever seen so many White Claws in my whole life.
It's a White Claw kind of group.
Yeah, White Claw, and a lot of them. And I think that's why, because they can sit there and they can drink 25 White Claws in a day.
Yeah, that's fair. Easy drinking. Easy drinking.
Absolutely. So yeah, that was cool. First tournament in Iowa. It was a long drive. Oh, so I went with two guys out of Indianapolis, and we met in Danville, Illinois. Because we thought, yeah, I'll just park my car there and I'll ride the rest of the way with them. Well, Danville's kind of stuck in like 1985, and it didn't seem like maybe the best place to leave my car. So we drove a little bit further down the road to Champaign, which is a lot nicer place. That's where the University of Illinois is. Parked at a hotel there and drove on. Well, when we got back to the hotel, I was super afraid my car was going to be towed. Because like everywhere in Illinois that we went had signs everywhere. It was like,
No.
unauthorized vehicle, we're going to tow you.
Yeah.
We have the right to tow you. And I think that's because Illinois has a law stating that you have to post that, otherwise you can't tow. So we got back, my car was there. Yay, we pulled in the parking lot, and then I saw my car. And I was like, oh my God, looks like a golf ball. And there are dings, golf ball sized dings all over my hood, all over the roof of my car, all over my trunk. One of my rear tail lights had a big crack in it. One of my front turn signal lights had a big crack in it.
They had a hailstorm.
We had a major storm on Saturday
Yeah.
that went through Iowa, went through Des Moines, like crazy. Like, I mean, we walked outside and we were looking up and it was like, oh, there's a tornado's going to drop right on top of us. And like you just see these clouds rotating. And well, that storm eventually just kept traveling and went right through Urbana-Champaign about 10 o'clock on Saturday night and dropped 1.5-inch size hail along with 50-mile-an-hour winds.
Oh, my gosh.
And, yeah, my car, you should see, there's a ding on the hood. So, like, the hood goes down and then it kind of curves.
Mm-hmm.
And then, so on that curve in the metal, that spot should be, like, the hardest part of the metal.
Because of the way it's curved.
Because of its curve, yeah. And there's a ding in that. And it's like, how my windows didn't get shattered.
Yeah,
I mean, I was so happy
Your
about
back
that.
window especially.
Oh, man. I thought for sure that they would be destroyed. But the most annoying thing was that, like, I had just cleaned completely cleaned the inside of my car, and I was going to list it for sale Monday. And now I got to go through insurance, hoping that they even fix it.
Yeah. They might just total it out.
Hopefully they just total it out and hopefully that its value is higher than what I owe on it, which it should be.
Yeah.
It should be really close, but that would make it easier than probably selling it if they just said, yeah, it's totaled out and here you go, we'll just pay it off. Go get something else.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, it was.
Oh
okay.
my gosh, that sucks.
I was good with that. It probably would have been cheaper than paying the tow bill. You know, my got a decent deductible, so and it's comprehensive, so it doesn't go against me.
That's good. That's good.
Well, yeah, that's what we got. That's all I got.
Yeah,
It's fun weekend, fun week. So
yeah, sounds like it.
Cool. Well, let's get right into it. We're going to dive right into devs, and maybe we'll talk a little bit about devs and Alex Garland, and then we'll do our spoiler stuff. So
yeah.
All right, we're gonna jump right into it. All right, so devs. Like I said earlier, it's an FX show now on Hulu. Check it out. 8 episodes. Basically, it's an 8-episode movie.
Yes.
That's really. It's meant to.
It was meant that way.
It was
too.
meant to be. I think originally a movie, and doing the 8-episode miniseries is really what It's an 8-hour-long movie. Done by Alex Garland, is the book by Alex Garland, just like Ex Machina was a book, Annihilation was a book. 28 Days Later, was that a book? Did he do that as a book, or was that just straight as a movie?
It would not surprise me. I want to say it's a book.
But the biggest, so it was a movie based on a tech company.
Yep.
That is heavily involved in quantum computing.
Tech company called Amaya.
Yep. Amaya is the name of Nick
Offerman or Forrest.
Offerman's character Forrest as his daughter. So he named the company after her.
Yeah, and it's a little bit creepy because of all the stuff he's got around there too.
Yeah.
And you see in the trailer too. You see
the giant statue.
The giant statue.
Yeah, so he's got the giant statue of his daughter and like all their like little TVs, do like internal advertising has her like blowing dandelion.
Yeah.
And it's a little odd, yeah. So quantum computing and a ton of math, just a ton of really awesome philosophical theories that are thrown around in this show.
Mm-hmm. But if you want, before you start it, if you want a background on quantum computing, Kurzgesagt does a really good job explaining like how a quantum computer is different than a normal computer.
Right.
We'll include it in the show notes below.
Yeah, for sure.
Because they do a really good job explaining how old computers do ones and zeros, and quantum computers do all the stuff that could exist in between 1 and 0.
Yeah.
And like how it works. So if you want how to do it, check the description below. And math is awesome in this. I nerded out on this stuff.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And my shirt was actually mentioned in the TV show too.
Yep.
Or you know what my shirt is.
Yeah.
We'll get into it later.
It sure was. So this episode in particular is going to cover the first 4 episodes of Devs. Now, in typical fashion for myself, I've watched the whole thing already, so I'm going to try super hard not to talk about episodes 5 through 8. Paul's only watched the first 4,
Only
so
first 4.
we're going to try and have him do most of the talking just so I don't slip up.
We'll see how that goes.
I'll do my best. But so now that you know that Devs is basically high level explanation. But Devs is basically the story of a tech company that has developed a technology that they are willing to kill to protect, kill to keep secret. So check out the trailer. We'll post it in the show notes. Go watch the show, at least the first 4 episodes. Come back, listen to our discussion here about the first 4 episodes, or watch all 8 and then watch this week and next week's episode at the same time. But for right now, we'll jump into our spoiler countdown and we'll get right into it. Whew, all right. Longest 5 seconds ever. Yeah, let's go. We can go.
So first, let's talk about the characters.
Yep.
First, Forrest is the head of the tech company.
Yep.
Right.
Yep. Forrest is the Jeff Bezos, Mark Zuckerberg of this company. He
And
is
it's
the
Nick
head.
Offerman. Nick Offerman
Nick
plays him.
Offerman from Parks and Rec.
And Sergey is the first character that you only see him in the first episode. Does he come back later on?
Yes, he will come back later on, just in like flashback, other scene type stuff. But yeah, we see, and you learn quite a bit about Sergey.
Yeah, you do.
They do more Sergey character development in the like episodes 2, 3, 4.
Yeah, because you figure out that he was a Russian spy.
Yeah, you find out more about his character. Yep.
Yeah. So Sergey gets asked to come. He does like the Nematode project, which is an actual project that was done.
Yep.
So Sergey does this thing where it tries to predict the behavior of a nematode. And what they do is that they map all of the neurons.
What a nematode is?
It's small, cellular,
smallest coherent.
smallest neural capacity of animal.
Right.
Like I think it's like 39 neurons, and they simulated what 39 neurons would do, and they even predicted like where it would be in the future.
Yep.
Which is a real study that was done, and we'll do a link in the show note below. But after Sergey's study, Nick Offerman comes in with his partner Katie, who comes in, and they're like, "We want you to join Devs."
Yep.
And he gets to join Devs. He joins Devs. He comes in, and that's when he realizes that they built and developed a quantum computer.
Yeah, so let's talk a little bit about when he goes to devs. So, just like all Silicon Valley tech
Secret.
companies, they have this giant campus, and the devs division of Amaya is in this super secretive location. You don't have access to, like, it's off the beaten path. Like, if somebody was going to take a tour of Amaya,
This would not
you
be
would
included.
never end up at devs.
You would
because it's
never
in
even
this
know it existed.
super odd place. Which I really loved the lights that they had on the trees in the forest.
The circular
I
ones?
want to find those just to put them in like my backyard or something. They're super cool.
So much fun.
So you have to kind of go down this like hipster trail going to your
Yeah,
job
that's
site,
true.
and you show up and there's this big open field and they have like those gold Farad rods
Yeah.
as you're walking up to basically a, like
It's like a
temple.
Faraday. Yeah,
It's
it looks like
it's
a
like
temple.
It's like Ozymandias' temple from The
I-
Watchmen.
When I saw it from up high on the drone, it looked like a Egyptian
Yeah.
style
I
pyramid.
almost would say Mesopotamian.
It
Because
didn't come to a point. You're right.
flat
It didn't
top,
come
yeah.
to a point.
To me, it looked like in some of those aerial views that there was like a swimming pool on top of it, and I wonder if like
I
if
didn't see
it
that.
did have like it looked like so metal it looked liquid. Yeah, and I wondered if maybe it would be a pool because like a quantum computer can certainly put off some energy. Now they talk
A lot
about
of heat.
containing it, but like in the event of an emergency, if they had a big giant pool on top of the building,
To
they could
drop
just
it,
drop a hatch and
fill it.
fill it.
I didn't think about that. But the reason why it's in that kind of like off the beaten path and in this giant gold mesh that's a vacuum, it's
Yeah,
supported by
so when you walk
electromagnetics.
into the door, it's an open doorway. There's no door. You walk down this hall, and you got your little security panel, and open your big glass doors, and it's like this floating glass elevator box.
Mm-hmm.
That's floating because of electromagnets and being in a vacuum.
Yep.
So the electromagnets, they just propel forward and propel backwards, and
So the entire structure inside is suspended without any
Yep.
any interference. So it's just this like cube inside that is, which I got to thinking about. They have toilets in there, they have water in there, they have running water in there, like they've got refrigerators and stuff. Like how are they getting power into it? How are they getting water into it? It's got to like come in and like I don't know. The logistics of it is a little bit weird to me, but it's like a self-contained.
My guess
Laboratory.
would be tanks, and they're
Like
like
storage tanks and like batteries, maybe.
storage tanks. Batteries you wouldn't need because energy is
Wireless
never,
power.
energy is never created or lost. I mean that quantum computer is your energy source in a sense.
But you're gonna need it to run like water pumps, and where does that poop go? Like if you poop in the toilets,
Probably tanks, yeah,
and then they just move the tanks in and out constantly. Like,
possibly. I mean, I'm sure you can shut. I'm sure that they could lower the electromagnetism to a point where they could literally drop the whole
cube.
cube.
You never see that though.
No, you never see any of that stuff.
Okay, I don't know. The maintenance stuff threw me off. I
So
didn't-
we need devs. Was the Star Trek when you were just looking at the lower
decks.
Yeah, we need devs the lower decks. Alex Garland, get on top of that. We
Yeah.
want to know
How the
we
poop
wanna,
flows.
We want to follow the janitor at devs.
And there's no janitor. Like it specifically
allowed.
says that.
Yeah.
It's not allowed.
Yeah.
You have to clean up after yourself, which I found
Oh,
to be
that's true.
which I found to be probably like the place looked clean. And like I've lived with some computer scientists. No, they don't. It's fairly dirty sometimes.
Yeah. Well, they
And-
live there.
Yeah, and if
Like-
they live in there,
Like
it's gonna be
Stewart,
messy.
Stewart's character in Linden, like they don't. You eventually will see Stewart's home.
is in the cube.
No. Well, you eventually see like what his real home is,
Oh, okay.
but like he never goes there. Like they're there.
He does make
no-
several comments like it's places like Vegas, because I never know what time it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. They have no work schedule there.
Yeah.
They have no
Everything's
clock in,
free.
clock out. You know, they just you show up and you can work 24/7. You can I mean, and realistically, like
Yeah.
you can. You
And
can.
Sergey, whenever he's doing it, he first realizes what the quantum computer does, and then he panics, and you don't know what it does yet, but he realizes what it is, and he sets his watch to a certain time, and then he sits there like this, watching his code, and then Sergey was trying to steal the code
Yeah, it was
information,
recording his watch.
on his watch's
watch
face.
was recording.
and Nick Offerman's character, Forrest, knew about it, forgave him for it, while surprising him in the forest, and then they murdered him. And then this whole show starts with the murder of Sergey and his girlfriend Lily.
Yep. Who's Sonia Mizuno,
Mhm.
who is in Ex Machina and Annihilation
She's in both.
as well, I believe. Yeah.
Well, she's good. So
She's great.
yeah.
Yeah, and a lot of the knocks that I saw on Debs was like that she wasn't the right person to be this strong female lead, and it was like,
What?
why? Because she's skinny and has short hair and
She
isn't
was
like
awesome.
your typical like
I thought she was great.
Hollywood bombshell. Like she did an awesome
I
job.
thought she did awesome.
Awesome job. Yeah, and she's great in I think everything she does. She does a great job.
But she's the one trying to figure out what happened.
And
to Sergey.
she's also at Amaya. She works in
Cryptography,
so security basically.
Yeah.
Which
which is where my shirt gets mentioned.
yeah.
She gets she has like a competition. They have a Fibonacci sequence competition.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, I have a shirt like that. And it made me very, very happy. Because normally it's your shirts that are.
Yeah.
But if it veers into mathematics at all, I got a shirt to cover it.
There you
I
go.
got a shirt to cover that.
So we've talked about Forrest. We've talked about Lily, who so really there's ultimately three main characters in the show. It's Forrest, Lily, and Katie. Katie is played by Allison Pill, who's also in a number of different
Star
projects.
Trek Picard is my.
Yeah,
is the first
she's in that. She's in the Newsroom.
one. Oh, she's great in the
The
newsroom.
Newsroom. That's a great show. That's a great
Yeah,
show.
that's a really good show.
That show, I was so sad. I was so upset that show ended. That was a
Yeah.
fantastic show.
Well, what's the guy from Dumb and
Jeff
Dumber?
Daniels.
Jeff Daniels.
Yeah,
I never knew he could play a serious character like
he
that.
did a great job.
Man, he does a
that cast is
fantastic job.
Amazing. That's an HBO show. Should
Definitely
be on
check that
HBO
out.
Max.
The first
Go check it out.
first scene of Newsroom where he rips it's fantastic.
Yeah.
And but anyway, digress.
So Allison Pill is Katie, and then Lily, Sonia Mizuno's character. Those Forrest, Katie, and Lily. Those are the three real main characters. Other important characters: Kenton, who works security at Amaya. Sergey, of course, who plays a little boy. Jamie, who is an ex-boyfriend of Lily's,
of
plays a
Lily's.
big part.
He's a cryptographer as well.
I cannot think of her name.
Lyndon?
Kaylee Spaney plays a character named Lyndon, who now would be like a super young, like teenage prodigy.
Yeah.
So that great character. The other one would be Stephen McKinley Henderson, who plays Stuart. So Stuart, Lyndon, Katie, they all are Deb's workers. Forrest as well. So Forrest is obviously the head of Amaya, head of Deb's. Allison Pill, Katie, Kaylee Spaney's Lyndon, and Stephen McKinley Henderson's Stuart. they're all at Deb's. Stewart was probably my favorite character in the whole show. After
Yeah,
watching.
he's starting to be there.
He
for
plays
me,
he plays
episode
a
4,
little smaller role as it's building, and then as it continues on, he plays a much bigger role in terms of like just the things he says. Like he's such a cool character, and when
talks about his generation versus Lyndon's generation. Yeah, really funny stuff too.
Yeah, and some of the characters too, like Allison Pill's Katie is just very robotic.
Yeah, she's
Nick
cold.
Offerman,
She's detached.
very robotic. Lyndon and Stewart are much less robotic. Both of them are incredibly intelligent, but they're more fun characters, and I think part of that has to do with like maybe that they're not completely involved with what's going on, at least early on.
Yeah. They don't.
Of course, Lily knows nothing about Debs other than that, like,
Nope.
if you get into Debs, like, it's a really big deal, and that it's something that people strive to do. But, yeah, so in episode 1, we see Sergey.
Yeah.
We see, like, a day in the life of Lily and Sergey at the start, and then they go to the Sergey's presentation with the nematode, and
Yep.
gets into Debs and does everything you said earlier. He sees the code, realizes what it does,
Tries to steal it with his watch.
tries to steal it,
Nick Offerman.
winds up dead
Kenton kills
at the
him.
hands of Kenton. Yep.
Yeah. Kenton kills a lot of people on the show.
Oh yeah,
It's ridiculous.
because he doesn't know really what's going on.
Yeah, he has no idea.
Um,
But it turns out that
he forgives him because so
Deterministic.
the big main philosophical computational theory that's thrown around, at least for the first couple of episodes, is determinism, and it's mentioned a couple different times. It's like tram lines. Everything in your life is a tram line.
the past, present, and the future
Past, present,
already
future.
happened. They are happening all at the same time.
Yep, all at the same time. Everything is fixed. Everything in your life is fixed. You have, you basically. So, I woke up this morning because I set my alarm the night before.
Mm-hmm.
Because I had to be here. Because I took a shower because I woke up and I needed to be clean to come here. So everything that you're doing in your life is predetermined, and nothing you can do
Can change.
it. So
You have absolutely
even though
no
like
free will.
yeah, even though like I woke up this morning and I could have not taken a shower and showed up, but I took a shower. That was I took a shower because I was going to take a shower because that's what was already chosen. So even though in my head I think I have the ability to make a choice, it's more the illusion of free will. And that's something that a lot of people believe or want to believe that is how it is and that everything is fixed. But, well, I'll just jump right into it now because we're talking about Sergey being killed. In the scene where Sergey dies, Forrest and Katie just kind of... So Forrest forgives Sergey. I forgive you because you didn't want to steal the code. You were always going to steal the code because that's what was in your cards. So you
It was
were
on your
gonna do
tram
that.
line.
Yeah, it was on your tram line. You were going to do it. So I forgive you. And Kenton kills him while Forrest stands there. Katie comes in, stands there emotionless because they believe that was going to happen. So they have no remorse for what happened because it was meant to happen. And that's where my personal issue comes in with determinism, because in a sense it what was the word I used earlier?
For criminal.
Adjudicates?
Adjudicates.
Would that work?
Yeah, I think that would work.
It adjudicates
It
crime.
justifies.
Yeah, it justifies crime. You know, if you kill somebody, well, you
I
can.
couldn't not kill them.
Yeah, I couldn't not kill them because my tramline was to kill this person. This person needed to die because that's what was written in their cards. That's what was predetermined for them. And when we talk about determinism too, it's talking in a state of like this is a law of the universe. So if this did not happen, if I did not kill this individual, then the laws of the universe would be broken and space-time would
Cease to exist.
fold in on itself, whatever. I don't know. Which is a really interesting thought. Like, so really, in this story, there's, if you look it up on YouTube, maybe I'll find a video and post it, but there's hard determinism and soft determinism. Maybe soft determinism has some leeway with choices, or like not so much with the like, oh, you can just do whatever you want because it's predetermined.
And when we when we say predetermined, they are seeing what has happened because of the quantum computer that is in there. Right? Like that's what they're talking about. They're looking into the future.
So
Like Forrest and Katie.
at the point of the first
4 episodes.
At the point of the first 2 episodes, the only people who have looked into the future are Forrest and Katie.
Yes.
Actually, I think they're the only ones that have looked into the future, period, because
Yeah,
it's against,
because
the,
against
rules.
the rules.
Until later on, there is a
Someone else does.
slight look. But yeah, it's against the rules at devs to look into the future. So, but Katie and Forrest have used the quantum computer to, and basically what's happening is this quantum computer has, so each of us is made up of a lot of data. Our brains are supercomputers. We have a lot of data. So we have all this data inside of us, and using determinism, using the mathematics behind determinism, you can take that data from each person, each thing, and retrace everything backwards from there, which is what this quantum computer does to show them the past.
Okay.
And vice versa, the future. It can predict, it can use that data to predict what's going to happen. However, until something happens, and we'll talk about that because it does happen in episode 1 through 4, it doesn't work perfectly to relay like true high def images. It just takes a lot of that data and pieces it together in like a visible white noise, more or less. And what they're doing at Devs is trying to develop the system so that it can portray better imagery, can portray
Clear sound.
clear noise, clear sound, and and we learn more about the system
And they make it better.
as they make it better. Yep.
And that brings up another point because Forrest, when they're trying to make it better, Forrest tells them, well, you're going to have to make it better. And Lyndon and Stuart both say, are you saying that because you know we're going to make it better or because you know we're going to make it better?
Yeah. Yeah, there's so much of that, like, everything's going to be all right because I know it's going to be all right because I know this is going to happen. I've seen this is going to happen. I've done that. Yeah. And that's kind of neat. That'd be cool.
That would be cool.
But it would also remove a lot of emotion from the person because, like,
Well, you would.
now
I feel like you'd still have an
you're-
emotional reaction.
You're watching a rerun.
Yeah, but you'd still have an emotional reaction. When you rewatch movies, you know, you it might be dulled, but you still have an emotional reaction.
Yeah, that's because I don't believe in determinism.
You think that movie can change?
No,
Okay.
but that's why I have emotions. Movie could change.
It could.
Could.
I don't think it will.
When I watch it changes.
There you go. Now you're getting into quantum stuff. Well, the quantum computer that they're working on, bringing it back to real science, we have built a quantum computer. Google has a project called Sycamore that has produced 53 qubits of information, and with 53 qubits of information, they declared themselves quantum supremacy.
Oh, sure.
Because it was able to do a calculation that would have taken a normal computer like tens of thousands of years to do. They did it with just 53 qubits of information and ability. So when asked about quantum computing in this, Nick Offerman's character, whenever Sergey asks him, Nick Offerman's character says it's a number that is meaningless to state, is what Nick Offerman's character says, because of how big it is. So if you were able to have, like, they're imagining like 168 qubits will be able to make market predictions on like the stock market on Wall Street and what to invest in. And if they could do that with like 168, imagine what they could do with the number that is meaningless to state because of its
Sure.
size. So the computing behind it, the knowledge is sound as we know it. We are very far away from doing that big on a real life scale. Like we've done 53, we're trying to do the next bit, but like even if we follow Moore's law and double every 2 years, like it's still going to take us a while to get to this point.
Sure.
Unless something major happens, which I'm guessing is what Amaya, the company Amaya, has done. So there's like the drama going on with Lily investigating the murder of Sergey. She knows that it didn't happen, so she's trying to like figure it out. But there's also the technology side that's like fighting against her or fighting with her, because in the end of episode 4, or at the beginning of episode 4, they see that Lily is going to die.
Mm-hmm.
And by the end of the episode, it looks like Lyndon gets fired. Lily is arrested and taken into custody because she wrecked that car with the guy.
That whole situation
Kenton.
was really scary. So Kenton is Forrest's kind of, it's his head of security. It's the guy who does all the dirty work. But because they don't clue Kenton in on a number of things, he takes a lot of action into his own hands.
He acts on faith with everything.
And Forrest and Katie, they need Lily to end up in that spot, because otherwise their theory of determinism, is null.
Doesn't check out.
And so Lily, when she realizes that Sergey wouldn't have lit himself on fire and killed himself.
Yes.
She goes and seeks the help of Jamie, who's also in the tech world, because she finds an app on Sergey's phone that has a password protection to it, which it shouldn't have. And Jamie helps crack the phone, which leads her to find out that Sergey's a Russian spy. So she really didn't know him. And Kenton goes to... He's kind of monitoring Lily. What's she going to do? Is she a threat? And reports to Forrest. And Forrest knows what's going to happen. So he kind of lets Kenton do his thing, which is kind of annoying because he knows Kenton is going to do what he does and try to eventually try to take her out. But so Kenton's kind of following in the background. Lily goes to Deb's when she realizes kind of maybe what's going on, and meets up with a couple people she works with, because so she was told after Sergey died by Forrest that you never have to worry about anything again. Your job will never require you to be here ever again. You're still going to get paid. You're still going to get all your benefits. Basically,
Whenever you're ready to come back.
yeah, whenever you want to come back, you can come back. If you don't want to come back, so what? You're taken care of. So here's a great retirement.
That's what I was going
It's
to
a
say.
pretty sweet setup. For me, I'd be like, Sergey, who cares? No, I'm just kidding. Just kidding.
Love of my life. Okay.
Just kidding.
Fine.
And so she comes, she takes off. That's where she starts discovering the Sudoku stuff. And then she realizes that Amaya did something to cover it up. So she goes to work, meets a couple people she works with, has like what seems to be a real crazy panic attack.
Turns out it was all staged.
Her other friend comes up, and there's a little bit of hidden communication, wink wink type stuff going on, and she realizes, oh, I need your help, and this is fake. And so they stage this psychological break to get into Kenton's office. She has a panic attack again, a fake panic attack. Goes outside on a ledge like she's going to jump off. And about that time, the senator is also flown in, which is an interesting part. That this is why I want another one, because the government is stepping in. They realize that there's this devs project, and it needs to have government oversight.
They wanted to.
Yeah, they want it to have government oversight, which is
Not going to fly.
oh man, it's so annoying because like
It's not going to fly.
why should that company have any more government oversight than Plaid and
Yours,
Timber?
yeah.
Like it shouldn't. That's communism. Like when the government tries to take control of your projects, like for the government's benefit.
Now, seeing what the computer does, that's...
Sure, absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely. But ultimately, I think the hands that it was in were good hands because they
I've not
weren't
seen
going
the
to
end of it.
they weren't
I've not
going to use it for whatever.
Oh, you don't.
Although there's another character down the road that tries to take action themselves, but I'm not going to say who. Not yet. But anyway, so the senator's coming in to do the Senate oversight. Well, about that time, Lily's out on this ledge. They come around the corner, and Forrest calls up to Kenton and was like, "What the heck is going on?" She's looks like she's going to jump. She's standing right outside your office. Which the whole time, I'm thinking, how did the friend not see her walk right past? It's because, she's in on it.
She's in on it with her.
Yeah, she's in on it. And so Kenton leaves the office while the friend gets up and jacks some data from Kenton's computer, gets the video, and Lily and Jamie together realize that Sergey did die, but the whole lighting himself on fire video that was put out was special effects.
All fake.
All fake. They did burn his real body, but it was a fake video. And that led to more digging. Kenton, I think, realizes what happened. So she promises Kenton to go see a doctor.
Mm-hmm.
And she goes to the doctor, this therapist,
Who's on the payroll?
who's on Amaya's payroll, or at least Kenton's payroll.
Yeah.
And this doctor realizes that this girl has no schizophrenic issues. She's fine. It was fake. So when they're driving home, he tries to take her to a psychiatric ward, and she says no. Crashes the car, which was a great scene. Like the effects were great. I mean,
they did a good job on it.
And busts him up pretty good. She goes back to Jamie's and
She calls the police immediately.
Because she realizes Jamie was right and, Amaya didn't. But in between, Amaya, of course, got a hold of it, or Kenton got a hold of it, and they arrest Lily for reckless endangerment using a motor vehicle.
Because
Because she's schizophrenic.
Yep.
And they have the Doctor come in, and Kenton comes in, and that's kind of where episode 4 ends with those characters. At least I think that's where it flashes to the scene of them viewing Lily's death.
Again,
But yeah, we see Kenton with Jamie, and
I thought
certain ominous
I thought he was dead.
potential.
It
He
looked
might be
like
dead.
It looked like he was gonna die.
He might be dead.
Yeah, that's ridiculous.
We won't know yet though until episode 5.
That's true.
But
It was really I like the
so let's backtrack a little bit because we didn't really talk about this yet. So I believe it was in episode 4. Episode 4. So the people at Devs are they're the math that they're trying to utilize is for a deterministic theory. So
One
determinism,
event.
straight determinism.
cause, effect.
Yep. Cause effect. Effect causes next cause, which causes next effect, and so on and so forth. And that's predetermined. And they can't advance basically anymore because they've got what image they've got, but they don't have clear audio, nothing. So Lyndon, who is an open-minded, which is good because if you're just stuck in one place and you can't branch out, you can't advance.
Mm-hmm.
And so Lyndon says, you know what? Screw it. I'm going to try it with the many worlds theory, the multiverse theory, which basically states that anytime you make a choice, another world is branched off of that choice, and so on and so forth. So, like I said this morning, I woke up because I set my alarm. Well, there's also a world where I didn't wake up because I didn't set my alarm, or I woke up this morning and didn't take a shower before I came in, or I woke up this morning and I ate breakfast instead of not eating breakfast, and so on and so forth. That's kind of where I think. And so Lyndon changes the math to work with the many worlds theory, and like that, boom, clear audio
crystal audio
of
and then,
Jesus Christ.
And then Katie adjusted to do visual. Katie adjusts to do visual.
At the end of episode 4?
At the end
Okay.
of episode 4.
Okay, yeah. So
to show
so
Forrest.
Lyndon is immediately fired by
Yes.
Forrest. You broke the rules. You break the rules, you're gone. And gets a really awesome severance package.
Yeah.
Really good
Friggin'
severance
$10
package.
million and what no need to do anything else the rest of your life.
Yep. 10 million. Nuts. It's
I think
really
it's 10
cool.
million or 10 billion. It's one of the two.
10 million, yeah.
I think it's 10
Yeah,
million.
just on the spot. Yeah, but you gotta pack up your stuff. You gotta leave. You can never talk about it, or we'll kill you. And and that's that. And so then, like,
And the reason why Forrest does that is because he does not want that to be the answer. He doesn't want the many worlds thing or the multiverse theory to hold true. He wants it to be strictly deterministic of this universe only,
he
not all the
doesn't-
possible ones.
he doesn't want it. He needs it to be. And we find out more in episodes 5 through 8 to explain why he needs it to be that way. We won't go any deeper than that because otherwise we'll start spoiling things. But like Paul said, Katie does the same, which Katie also is a firm determinism believer. But Katie also is slightly younger than Forrest, also doesn't necessarily have certain reasonings behind her thought processes to need determinism to work, and so she shows Forrest, hey, here, check this out. And he's like, how did you get that? Because I did what Lyndon did, and it worked. And so the many worlds theory is what makes it work so well, clear. The
She shows
visualization of his daughter.
Daughter blowing bubbles in the
Yep.
which I contend is something I would have gotten yelled at as a child. If I was blowing bubbles inside,
Yeah.
I would have gotten in a lot of trouble.
Yeah.
And he was like, he put it up as like this magical moment with his daughter.
Yeah.
My parents' magical moment with me would have been the spanking I would have gotten because I was blowing bubbles and the cleaning I would have to do afterwards. That would be the magical moment for myself.
Yeah. So I think we can probably wrap things up there. There was one other thing that I found really interesting, and that was Forrest still lives in the same house that he lived in.
Yeah.
It's just tiny, normal little house.
It's like episode 3 or
drives
something.
like a 2001 Subaru Outback, and it's made very clear by Kenton, and really by Forrest too. When like you just offer your whatever employee $10 million like that, like Forrest is Amaya is the wealthiest company in the world. Therefore, Forrest is the richest dude around.
But he won't sell his house and he won't get any.
But yeah, he doesn't need all the. He has very, very, very tiny tunnel vision, and he wants to achieve that tunnel vision.
At the end of the tunnel.
At the end, yep. And so yeah, I think we can wrap it up there. We'll jump into the wrap up and move on to next week, hopefully.
Right.
All right, so you've just watched our
First
review of the first 4 episodes
of Devs.
of Devs. Hopefully you were watching it. It is a very slow moving show at some points.
Yes.
It can be over the top of some people's heads, most people's heads, but I think that
I wish they would dive more into the math.
I don't think I think they dive into
More?
it enough to where some people might be put off, but I don't feel like you have to know these things to understand what's going on. Or know deep dives into it, but knowing deep dives into it does help you understand a lot of things a lot better. But yeah, check out the show notes below. We'll have some other videos about quantum computing. I'll try to find the one about determinism versus multi-worlds theory. But other than that,
Yeah.
we're gonna watch episodes 5 through 8. Next week's episode will cover 5 through 8. That's where we're gonna get into the real nitty gritty. I know what happened. Paul has yet to find out what happened. I'm glad I didn't spoil anything. But I think I didn't spoil anything anyways.
Yeah.
But
Okay. Well,
yeah, watch and enjoy, and join us next week for part 2 of this episode.
Yep.
Until then,
keep looking up.
keep looking up. See you.